FM, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Her in the Huddle, WOVU's Look at Sports, featuring the First Lady of Sports, Rachel Hill.
Hey, yo. Hello. What's up? This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I am super excited today because I got my boy joining me, Willie Epstein Jr., who was out on a wonderful, it looked like jaunt around the world on his 8th wedding anniversary. Congratulations to you and Mrs. Epstein. Willie, man, how are you doing? You've been missed, sir. What's up? How you doing?
Did you miss me?
Yeah, I did.
Cleveland, what's happening? Rachel L. Hill, First Lady of Sports. What's going on?
Nothing, man. How you doing?
Well, I am doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Got a little health issues going on right now, but went to the doctor yesterday and found out some things that I had misunderstood that have caused some numbers to be way out of whack.
Okay.
But the power is in the knowledge. So we now have it, and we've got a plan to correct it. And I'm looking forward to getting back to feeling 100% myself.
All right, man. We're going to, wish you well and prayers for, a speedy recovery. And, I'm just happy to have you back. How was your trip and stuff? Well, you went on a jaunt around the world. It was hard to keep up. I'm like, it was like that book, Where in the World is Willie right now? I didn't know where he was. I just saw pictures.
Yeah, we flew into Long Beach and we had lunch there. And then we kind of toured LA a little bit. And then we spent the rest of the time in San Diego, got a chance to eat some great food, see a whole bunch of sights. And the weather, when I tell you the weather was absolutely perfect, it was just that. And we were able to get a Ford Mustang convertible for a rental.
Ooh wee!
So every evening we dropped the top and we cruised. So yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, awesome.
And today is actually the wedding anniversary. We got married on July the 27th. So let me shout out to my Cleveland family, and on behalf of my wife, happy anniversary, babe. 8 years more plus infinity. I love you more today than I did yesterday.
Happy anniversary, Miss Epstein. So it looked like she was having an amazing time as well. So I'm so happy that you guys got to have such a good time and, get a convertible, roll down with drop top, went to visit where Snoop is from. Now, you originally from LA, correct?
Nah, I grew up the first part of my life in Oakland. And it's funny that you mentioned Snoop because we did roll by. So I hooked a left on 2-1 in Lewis. I got a picture of it.
And do this?
Yes.
Is that the next two?
Looked at my homies and I said, let's do this.
Okay, yeah, I got it right. Okay,
yeah.
I'm excited.
Regulators! Yeah. I went to 2-1 in Lewis, baby. So
you guys were in Oakland too, right?
No, we didn't make it to Oakland. We just spent one day in LA and then we spent the rest of the time in San Diego.
Oh, okay. And the weather in San Diego was perfecto.
Yes.
Was the water cold? Did y'all get in water at all?
Yeah, we actually did get in the water at the La Jolla Cove, which is north of the city. It's basically like an underground well. So there's an opening on each side. The sea lions and the seals are there too. So I got pictures with.
Oh, really?
I got pictures with the water coming up behind me and splashing me, and I got a couple pictures with the sea lions.
Do they like come and attack people, or like how are they around humans?
Nah, they don't attack you. They just kind of stay to themselves.
And do people go up and like mess with them and stuff, or
not too close? No. But the one that I took a picture by, I could actually touch it if I wanted to, but he was asleep or she was asleep.
Because they can mess you up, can't they?
Yeah, they can. I ain't gonna get that close.
I can only think of the people who get close and what happens when they do.
Right.
So, well, let's get into it, man. Let's talk Olympics and what dropped today, first and foremost. Simone Biles. So this already happened like earlier in the morning or what have you. She pulled out of the team competition citing medical reason. It turns out that she cited mental health reasons of why she pulled out. And Willie, what are your thoughts about Simone Biles and her pulling out of the competition? Because I'm hearing a lot of different things, but I know that we have our own opinions on what's going on.
Good for her. Good for her. She has basically accomplished everything she can accomplish in her field. Good for her. I mean, she's only 24 years old?
Mm-hmm.
So she's only 24 years old. She is considered to be, if not the greatest, well, she's by far the greatest gymnast in American history. And she's up there ranking in the top of all time around the world at the age of 24. She doesn't have any, I'm sure she doesn't have any financial issues to worry about. And the mounting pressure of being an Olympian, it only increases as you be more and more great. So if she is citing well, we know that since she is citing mental health challenges as the reason for escaping, with the mounting pressure in Tokyo, there with no fans, the pandemic, we've never experienced an Olympic Games participation with the pandemic in place. The pandemic, or actually the variant in Japan, was so the infection rate was getting so high and was so prevalent that, of course, they banned fans from the seats. But that still doesn't bar the participants from being, equally or as much exposed to it as they normally would be. So that in itself is pressure on top of pressure. So good for her. And that's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've seen so many different takes. A lot of takes are negative, calling her quitter and all that other stuff. And, she shouldn't have quit on her team like that. I said, and I was telling somebody just not too long ago that this generation is different. And one thing about them is that they appear to take mental health very seriously. And I like that because it's such an issue that so many people have struggled with. And it's that thing that's supposed to stay hidden. And these are reasons why people commit suicide and kill themselves, because of that stigma that comes with mental health. So I'm happy that this generation is open with it. They're talking about it. And these people live their life in the public eye. If you think about, you have a job as a social media influencer, getting people to look at your content. And what way is a great way to influence others? By being open, being honest, and starting that dialogue that is usually not taking place because people want to keep it hidden, and they're stigmatized because society says there's something wrong with you if you have mental health reasons, mental health issues, not realizing that this is something that's going on in your brain. It's chemical imbalance in your brain. And also too, things in society can shape mental health issues. And think about all the pressure, her being called the GOAT at the age of 24, her having the GOAT sewn into her leotard. Somebody did that. She didn't do that. But at 24 years old, you're being called the GOAT in an individual sport, not a team sport, but when they compete as a team. But being called the GOAT, and that expectation was she was going to win 6 medals, the five individuals, the all around, and the team medal. That's a lot of pressure that's been put on Simone Biles, unnecessarily done by the media, the fans, and just being called the GOAT at 24. Remember, adults do not have fully developed brains until the age of 29 years old or 30 years old. That's when brains are fully developed. She's still a child.
Yeah.
She's still a child. And that's one thing that people are not thinking about this, because I took a human development class during my master's, and I really appreciate taking that class because it teaches you a lot about how people develop, how brains develop, how bodies develop, how mentality develops, and things like that. Human development is a critical course, and that way you kind of have a basic understanding. But, I think that she's just been extended. She's exhausted, and, that pressure of everything you do is supposed to be perfect because you're the greatest greatest of all time. You have to be the best. You have to be perfect. You have to win all these medals. And you could tell, I don't know if you got a chance to see their opening, the team competition, but she was struggling. She struggled on the vault. She struggled. She did good on the uneven bars. She did good on the balance beam, or floor routine, but, she struggled to stick the landings on that vault and the floor routine. More or less, it was a vault that I think pretty much did it for her. But, she just wasn't Simone Biles. And that's a lot of pressure that befalls on somebody in the Olympics to prove you're the best in the world. So I applaud her what she did. And it makes me mad when I see the takes of people downing her for pulling out, like Naomi Osaka did when she pulled out. Mm-hmm. Society doesn't understand, and society doesn't allow Black people to be mentally ill. And that's why we end up in these positions that we do of self-harm and suicide, because nobody understands or even tries to understand.
Yeah, let me piggyback on that. I got a couple things to say about that, and it's real life stuff, and it basically is this generation. I'm gonna admit some things that I've never admitted before. Okay, on your show, this is a Her in the Huddle exclusive. This generation has more to deal with than we did. They do. And that's not to say that we didn't have a lot to deal with at 23, 24, 25, but we did. But here is the major difference. Peer pressure comes in all forms, and it doesn't stop really at a certain age. So from a competitive standpoint, yes, it may be just as emphatic, for the lack of a better term, but this generation has started way younger in terms of being great, and they're doing it in an era of social media where everything is being captured, and they know that everything is being captured. Heck, they got social media coordinators that are working for them. So that in itself puts it in a different stratosphere, in my opinion, because even though we may have had to deal with competitive issues and self-esteem issues and peer pressure and all those other things, we didn't have the world looking at us the way that these kids do. And I want to commend her and so many like her, to include my daughters, McKinley Moses and Morgan Moses, for being outspoken with this mental issue thing. And I want to extend my sincerest apology to this generation, those in particular, to include my children, nieces, and nephews, on not really making light of it, but really making them feel as though what they're going through is not as weighted as what we went through, simply because they're different. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes absolute sense, because I had somebody tell me that these kids today are talking about he felt like his kids were soft. And I said, you live in the suburbs, don't you? And he grew up in the city of Cleveland, in the inner city. And he's like, my kids are soft. I was like, but you live in the suburbs, right? I said, you purposely moved your children out, or didn't make sure your family didn't reside in Cleveland, so they didn't have to deal with what you had to deal with, and what you went through, what you went through. You grew up different than what these kids are going through. And he was like, well, you're right. Yeah, but I was like, you purposely did everything you could to make sure that your kids didn't grow up in the same environment. So they have different type of stresses than you did coming up, because their environments are different.
Yeah.
So, but what to say that they're soft or their stressors are not their stresses.
Yeah. And a lot of times we're probably a product of our own environment. So because I grew up in the hood too, back in Louisiana, and when we were in California, it wasn't really the hood then the way that it has turned to now. But in Louisiana, it was the hood through and through. And it didn't, because it's really not it's not the external environment that really shapes us, but it's the external environment. No, I'm sorry, I got it backwards. It's not the external environment that makes us, but it's the external environment that can shape us. If that makes any sense? Mm-hmm. So, I have this quote that the Lord gave me a while back. In order for you to change change whatever you're going through, change your environment, and then your environment begins with yourself. So I don't know. It's a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah, but my dad, told us he purposely, didn't have us grow up in the city of Cleveland. Nothing's wrong with the city of Cleveland. Love the city of Cleveland. He grew up in the city of Cleveland, but he told us he purposely moved us out to the suburbs, for different reasons. So, I probably somebody can call me soft. I grew up around a lot of white people, and I don't know what that struggle is to go without meals and things like that. And, growing up with a single mother, missing meals or, having, incarceration in my family. I know nothing about that, but my dad moved me in an environment where those things wouldn't be an issue. Now, kids are having those issues, though. People stay silent about them. But, if you move me for a specific reason, my main issue is, somebody wouldn't play with me on the playground. I was 6 years old and went and told that somebody wouldn't do that. So yeah, I can be called soft because I got upset somebody wouldn't play with me, but you specifically moved me away so I didn't have worse issues in my life that you didn't want us to have. So, I applaud, like I said, I applaud these kids and them speaking freely and openly, because all it's going to do is help people and have people seek help. And, especially when it comes to Black people, because of our generational trauma, and we are so used to withholding stuff from people and keeping stuff in and not speaking about it. It's helped me turn for help and speak to my friends about issues that I have going through that normally I would just suffer in silence about, because that's what we told to do. That's what being a strong Black person is. We don't talk about it. Also, she was a victim of sexual assault and sexual abuse. People don't think about that as well, about everything that people have going on. So, but she's still the GOAT to me. And, I'm just sorry that things worked out the way that they did for her, but she's accomplished everything athletically that, I think she probably could ever wanted to. She probably wanted to have this Olympics, but it didn't happen. And she did what was best for her. And just hopefully, she will look back and know that she made the best decision for herself at that time. So we got to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We will be right back.
Opportunity Institute of Cleveland is coming to the Kinsman neighborhood. Don't know what that is? Find out on Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the next community meeting in person at Cornucopia Place, 7201 Kinsman Road, or listen live on WOVU 95.9 FM. Also join the meeting on Zoom. Find the link on the WOVU Facebook page. Find out what the Construction Opportunity Institute of Cleveland is all about, what it means for the Kinsman neighborhood, and what it means for you. Bring your questions and concerns. Share your comments Wednesday at 6 p.m. at the next community meeting in person at Cornucopia Place, or streaming on Zoom and broadcast live on WOVU 95.9 FM. This community meeting is brought to you by Ward 5 Councilwoman Dolores Gray, the Construction Opportunity Institute of Cleveland, Burton Bell Car Development Incorporated, and WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United.
Thinking about where to enroll in school this fall? With the CMSD Learning Experience, you'll get more. The Cleveland Metropolitan School District is offering new programs live and in person, and it all starts on August 23rd. Student health services, free. 2 meals per day, transportation and internet access, free. Each student gets issued the right laptop, tablet, and technology, plus amazing activities for the whole family, also free. Enroll at CMSD and get more. Sign up. Choose CMSD.
This message is brought to you by Cleveland Metropolitan School District and WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Car community radio station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and we are going to talk about some basketball, Willie. Now, you've been gone. You was gone while the finals happened. Finals went by, took care of itself already, and then we're going to talk about Olympic basketball. But what is your summation of the NBA Finals? Because what team was you going with?
I was going for the Lakers.
Yeah, but they couldn't get out of the playoff round. Who did they play in the opening round? I can't even remember anymore. Oh, okay, and then got almost swept. Right? Was it 4 games in 1?
4-2.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Phoenix went ahead and took care of that. So yeah, after the Lakers lost, who did you want to win in the finals?
The Lakers.
Yeah, but the Lakers suck.
I got you.
Okay. Yeah, I know. The Lakers suck. I see what you did right there, but the Lakers were terrible. I said, I see what you did right there, but the Lakers were terrible.
Yeah.
So I just ignored you.
If you can see on the wall here in the studio, I got a new piece of memorabilia up there at the top. It is a Lakers championship, whatever that thing is.
I can't see it.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
move your camera.
Okay.
I want to see it. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was last year. We talking about 2021 now.
Oh, okay. But no, seriously, I did want Phoenix to win because of CP3. I think, and I'm delving out apologies today.
Why?
Because I owe Giannis Antetokounmpo an apology as well.
Why?
Because I said on one of the Shakeback Sports shows with my boy Corey Ellison, 12s and 6s all around the clock, Central Time, on the BGC Sports Network, bgcsports.net, also the TuneIn app. I had said on one of those shows a while back that Giannis Antetokounmpo is not a superstar. And I'm eating those words. I'm going to apologize to him on this show. I'm going to apologize to him on the Shakeback Sports Show on Elevation 5280 that will be coming up on Wednesday. I'm going to apologize to him on the Shakeback Sports Show on the BGC Sports Network on this weekend. But I'm apologizing to him now because I said he was not a superstar, and he proved everything against what I said by dominating the way that he did. And hey, he stepped up even from the free throw line. Oh my gosh. Now I know I wasn't really in front of the television, but I do still pay attention. And just because you're on vacation, entrepreneurs always are working. So I knew what was going on still. But yeah, that's my apology to that dude because he did that. He did everything that he needed to do and more. And in that clinching game 6, when he scored 50? Who hangs a 50 piece in an elimination game in the NBA Finals? Who's ever done that? I could probably say nobody.
Let me tell you something. First of all, you better be glad that Giannis is a really nice guy, and he probably will accept your apology.
Yeah.
So you're lucky on that front. But yeah, who did I say was going to win the finals?
You said Cleveland was going to win.
No, I knew we wasn't going to win. We couldn't even sniff it. We wasn't even good enough to clean up the trash left behind at the finals. Oh. Now, who did I say was going to win the finals?
You went with the Bucks.
Okay, I did. Yeah, but when as how that season started, not the season, but the series started, you could conceivably think that Phoenix was going to win. They had all the momentum. They had what appeared to be the talent, and Milwaukee was left struggling for answers how to beat this team, and Devin Booker was blowing it out of the water. And then Milwaukee kind of started paying attention and started, exploiting mismatches. You had people, step up. Chris Middleton was huge for this team. Mm-hmm. And it was funny, I did another show earlier in the season, and they had asked about Chris Middleton. Was he, how good Chris Middleton was? And I think Chris Middleton answered those by being a key component of that series. I felt like that Saturday night, because we didn't get a chance to do that show, that Saturday game in which they won Game 5 in Phoenix. Drew Holiday was huge for that team. So you had people step up, and almost if Giannis wasn't doing it, they were doing it in his absence. So you had that. And then I also commented, did Mike Budenholzer figure out Phoenix? Like, nobody was giving Milwaukee credit for anything that they were doing, and they were able to figure out some Phoenix. And I felt so bad for Monty Williams, because my sister had sent me a clip of him talking with Aiden, and just a motivational talk talking about, you set a high expectation for yourself, and that's why you upset. And I'm like, I feel that on every level. And they just said he's a different type of coach. He's a player's coach, and they absolutely love him. So you want somebody like that to win. But Phoenix deficiencies got exploited, and Milwaukee, rode with it. And also Giannis was just playing out of this world. And all you can do is congratulate him, because those efforts that he was putting in, like you said, even in his weak points, he stepped up in that free throw line. He went he only missed like 1 or 2 free throws in that finals game out of 17. So that was huge.
Yeah.
So I'm just hats off to Milwaukee. And I told you why I was torn and the reasons I was torn, but I'm always the type of person to root for the underdog. So that's one of the reasons why I was rooting for Milwaukee. But could we see Phoenix there again? The West is going to look a lot different, conceivably different next year. But can Phoenix have another opportunity? I think so. If they keep Devin Booker together with Chris Paul and, maybe get in one more piece or two, I think that they could potentially make it to the finals again and maybe win. Or will Chris Paul stay on the team? Or will Chris Paul become a Los Angeles Laker?
Oof. Well, I don't know about that last part, because he's due like 44 million, something like that, something crazy like that. But going back to Milwaukee and Budenholzer, because I owe him an apology as well.
You just on an apology tour, Willie.
Yeah, I owe him an apology too, because I didn't think in the past, specifically against Toronto, a couple years ago when Toronto made their run to the championship, I didn't think he made the necessary adjustments after being up 2-0 and then losing 4 straight. But this time it was obviously different, because they were down 0-2 and then they came back and won 4 straight. So shout out to him, man, for recognizing the real. And just like you said, Drew Holiday stepped up at times, at needed times. Chris Middleton, to me, in games 3 and 4, he was really the go-to guy. No, I'm sorry. In games 3 and 4 in Milwaukee, he was really the go-to guy while Giannis was struggling. And we got to remember this about Giannis. That injury that he sustained in the Atlanta Hawks series, we didn't think he was going to play again this year. Or a lot of us didn't think that, because that injury looked pretty bad. So shout out to him. And again, another apology for being as tough as nails as he was and performing at the highest level on the highest stage, man. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks. First time in 50 years that they've gotten a championship in that city. The last time, Lou Alcindor, you might know him as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was on that squad.
Oscar Robinson, don't forget about him.
Mm-hmm.
That's who LeBron James models his game after. So, yeah, but, great for the city of Milwaukee. They just reminded me of Cleveland so much, especially when they were showing, when they was playing in Phoenix and showing that Deer District, I guess. It just reminds me, like, when you see any, team, but I just compare that to the images of when our fans were outside of the queue when we were playing against Golden State. And I'm like, I remember that. I remember that feeling. I remember how amazing it was. So, they say that Milwaukee is kind of a sister city anyway. So, hats off to them. And the basketball season's over and the Milwaukee Bucks are the champions. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the season that was who won the title? I know I didn't. Well, everybody had Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. I want to answer your question about what you said about Phoenix, and in particular the West looking different next year. The West is going to look very different next year. We don't know what Damian Lillard's going to end up. Some people are saying New York, but he then came out and said he had made no innuendos about a trade request. So we'll see what happens in Portland. But with Anthony Davis being back, hopefully for the Lakers and Lakers fans, 100% healthy, they're actually in the mix and trying to possibly get Dame. I don't know how that will work because of his contract. The playoffs, or the Denver Nuggets, they will have their superstar back, their superstar point guard Jamal Murray back. I believe, and this is just what I think, I think the Suns are actually going to take a step back because not because of the talent, not because of the coach, not because of the players, but Golden State's going to be better when Klay Thompson comes back. They're going to have James Wiseman back, their rookie that they had that went out earlier in the year. And I have been hearing, Rachel, that they're trying to package that pick along with some players that they have on the end of their bench for another star. Now, I don't know who it's going to be. Oh, and another thing too, there's reports out there about Russell Westbrook possibly returning home and being traded to the Lakers from the Wizards. So it's going to look a lot different. And the East is going to look different too, because the people are going to be healthy. You know, Kyrie's going to be fully healthy, you would think. KD, James Harden.
Count on Kyrie for that, though. He ain't never been healthy.
Yeah, but the thing too is that it's going to be different in Boston with a new head coach and with Brad Stevens now running the show in the front office. So, and then the 76ers, I think they're going to look different too, because apparently there's a possible deal out there, Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard.
I prefer Ben Simmons to Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, not because, no, seriously, not because it's Cleveland, but because of him and his game. He's too limited. He's not a superstar. Okay, he is definitely not a superstar, and I will say that today.
Can he become one?
He can, but does he want to? Because I also heard, Rachel, that there's people in his camp that can't say no to him. Like, yo, you need to get out there and get in the gym and work on this. Nah, man, I'm good. Okay, that those kind of people.
Ooh. I'm gonna need you to work at it.
Yeah,
because ain't nobody coming to save you or make you better.
So if he, let's just say, for instance, that he does get traded to Cleveland. First of all, you're probably gonna have to give up Colin Sexton.
You know, I don't know why they want to get rid of Colin, but they do.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't want to. If I was a Cleveland fan, I wouldn't want that to happen either.
I don't either, but they don't want to commit to him long term. The Cavs just so messed up. We're gonna talk about this Olympic basketball. We're gonna take a quick break right quick, but when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit of Olympic basketball. So we will be right back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Is having a backyard barbecue.
What you talking about, Willis?
It's a launch party for the Lift Every Voice Project. Saturday, July 31st from 11 to 3. Meet us at 2721 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in the Britt Oval, right in front of St. Luke's Foundation. We'll be serving live music, games, and food selections grilled to perfection.
I know that's right.
And it's all for free. But a party ain't a party till the crew comes through, and that means you.
Who, me? Yeah.
So come on out to the St. Luke's Foundation Backyard Barbecue, July 31st, 11 to 3 at 2721 MLK Drive. This summer celebration is brought to you by St. Luke's Foundation and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
Life is getting back on track, and so is the job market. Be ready with the training you'll need to get a great job. If you or your family has experienced financial hardship as a result of COVID-19, Tri-C can help with tuition assistance. Whether you want to improve your skills, get certified, or train for a new career, go to tri-c.edu to check out our programs and resources. Register now for online and on-campus classes. Tri-C is where futures begin.
This message is brought to you by Tri-C and WOVU 95.9 FM, Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU and 95.9 FM. You can make sure you're listening to us live online at WOVU.org. You can always give us a call at 216-271-0009. And we always encourage you to download that WOVU app from the App Store. And that way you can listen to your favorite personalities on the go like me and Willie. So, Willie, man, while we was talking about NBA basketball, can you tell me what's going on with Olympic basketball and why is this team 6-3, 3-6, or 6-3 under Greg Popovich?
Excuse me. I have 2 words for you. Kevin Durant.
Pray tell.
Kevin Durant.
Uh-oh.
Kevin Durant.
Pray tell.
Kevin Durant cannot be the leader of your team and you expect to win. He cannot be the one that the other players look to for encouragement, guidance, whatever, and expect to win. This team is talented enough to win the gold. They're not talented enough to blow people out. I saw something on, I don't know what it was today, but they play the USBA T, whatever it is. They play Iran in the next game. And the question was not if they are going to beat Iran, because Iran has no NBA talent on their squad. They did have one dude on their team. I believe his name was something Habib, I want to say. No, not Habib.
Stop being so stereotypical.
No. I actually had it, but I forgot what it was. Yeah, here it is. 7'2" Hamed Adadi. Okay, that's who they have on their team. He did play in the NBA at one time back in 2013. I think he had a 6-year career, but they're not.
I never heard of him.
Exactly. They're not talking about can they beat them. They're talking about how many points they're going to win by. And if you know Greg Popovich is a coach, he hates talking about stuff like that. Remember the last interview he had? I don't know who they played. I want to say it was Nigeria, but they lost to Nigeria. So this team does not have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony. It's not that talented, but it's talented enough. And let's just face it, the world has caught up to the United States basketball team, i.e. without the LeBron Jameses, the Michael Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, all those superstars, not just stars, but superstars. This team does not have enough superstars on it in order to be as dominant as people want them to be. But this team is not, since it doesn't have as many superstars on it. When you play teams like Lithuania, when you play teams like Australia, when you play teams like France that have NBA talent but have been playing together since they were teenagers, that's a recipe for disaster potentially.
Yeah, because somebody, I don't know if it was Damian Lillard, but it was like, these guys don't be playing like that when they play NBA.
And then Rachel, somebody made a good point too, because, and I didn't even think about this, but the way that the rules are in international ball are very different than they are in the NBA. And it just leads to the fact that it's not, you can just roll the ball out there and go out there and play. You know, the refereeing is different. The rules are different. There's 10-point quarters instead of 12-point quarters. You know, you may be thinking, well, that's less time. They should be able to get more rest. But still, these NBA players are creatures of habit. And if they're outside of their habit, then they're not going to perform to the optimum levels that we're used to.
Yeah, that's very true. So we shall see. I don't know if they're going to take gold, which will be really, really sad. But it is what it is. So a little bit of baseball right quick before we get to football, because training camp, the Browns training camp start. Did Oakland start already?
Oakland didn't start because Oakland doesn't have a team.
Oh, sorry. You know.
You rubbing it in, G. You rubbing it in, G.
Honestly, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. That was bad on me. I'm in Las Vegas. I don't know. I might call them the Oakland Raiders forever. I don't know.
I know, man. All these different name changes and oh my God.
The Las Vegas Raiders. Did they start their training camp yet?
Not yet. I believe they actually will be in camp on either tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay. So before we get to Browns, what do you think about the Cleveland Indians name change? Well, the Cleveland baseball team, excuse me.
You know what? I'm one of those people that didn't have a problem with it being named the Indians. Maybe because I'm not Native American.
Are you sure you don't have no native in it? Because most of us have mixed ancestry.
Well, of course. I mean, that goes without being said, Rachel. Come on now. Don't pin me into a corner like that. But in terms of in terms of being upset about it, being offended by it, and I can't really speak on it because I'm not in that group. But if I were, I still can't really speak on it because I'm not still. The Cleveland Guardians and Natalie Turk, my sissy, my hashtag sissy of baseball, have her on the next episode that you can hear on the 12s and 6s Central Time, 1 to 7 Eastern Time, BGCsports.net. Anyway, she talked about the moniker Guardians and how it has the Indian still in the Guardians. And I thought that was pretty clever. So I'm waiting to see if they're going to change the logo or what the logo is changed to. I heard they're going to still keep the same colors. Is that correct?
Yes, the same colors. And I was hearing that Block C was going to stay as well.
What was going to stay?
Block C.
What's that?
The C that they use now.
Oh, okay.
So I think they might use 2 C's. The Guardian C and then the Block C.
Well, Guardian is with a G.
Yeah, but for Cleveland.
Oh, okay. So to answer your question, I mean, it's where we are in America, it's where we are in the world. It's another change that we have to get used to, whether we want to or not, whether we like to want to or not. There's nothing that can be done about it. So it's just time to get on the surfboard and keep surfing.
Yeah, I
a surfing analogy right there. I've never done that before.
Yeah, that just came out of nowhere. So you spending all that time in Long Beach and in San Diego, you saw a whole bunch of people surfing. Did y'all get in the water at all?
Yeah.
Was the water warm or cold?
It was it wasn't warm. I mean, but ocean
Ain't
water.
That crazy?
Ocean water's never really warm though.
Ain't that crazy though? Like it's be ice cold and it is doggone July.
No, it wasn't ice cold. Now I tell you, it probably was something around maybe 50 to 60 degrees.
That is ice cold.
No, 32 degrees is ice cold.
No, that is cold enough. 50-degree water? Who wants to get in that?
I mean, it's only
70, I know people was in there, but
it's only 77 or 70 something degree air temperature, so it's not going to be much warmer than that.
In San Diego?
Yeah.
Man, when I was there in October of last year, it was like 90 something degrees and the water was ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
Ice cold. I was just in disbelief. I'm like, this is not what they show on Baywatch. This is not what I've seen on TV. This is not what they show on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Everybody looks like they're having a good time. She said Baywatch. It looks like they're having a good time. They don't look like the water is freezing cold.
Right.
I was really upset and disappointed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's only certain people mad about the Guardians, but, it is what it is, and they don't own the team. The people who own the team reserve the right to choose the name, change the name, do whatever they want to, how they see fit. So be mad with them. Don't be mad at Native Americans who,
or the players.
Yeah, if Native Americans, so the thing is, people think that their voices don't matter. And, I had to come at somebody the other day. It's like, you just mad that, you got to respect somebody who you deemed unworthy of respect. That's what it's all about. It's about power. It's not about a name. They don't care about their name. It's just they want something to be what they want it to be, and it's not anymore. So speaking of that, I actually saw the sign that used to be out the old municipal stadium. I was at a historical site today, and they had a sign that used of a large Native American that used to be outside of Cleveland Municipal Stadium. And I saw where it was at now. And I never knew where it was at, but it was actually someplace I was at today. So I was just kind of in disbelief by that. But we're going to go ahead and take our final break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM, and we will be right back.
America's Pastime is calling you to the historic League Park. That's right, WOVU and the Community Cup Classic Foundation invite you to the second annual Youth Baseball Clinic and Community Softball Game, Saturday, August 14th at the historic League Park, 6601 Lexington Avenue in Cleveland. Reserve your child roster spot at the free baseball clinic, free to youth ages 6 and up, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. by visiting lifelinesports.com. lifelinesports.com. Then bring some peanuts and Cracker Jack to the community softball game at 1 o'clock. Go out with the crowd and root as the first responders and the community leaders go head to head. And if you're not there, it's a shame. Don't strike out on this doubleheader. Saturday, August 14th, a free baseball clinic. Then the community softball game between the first responders and the community leaders. This is brought to you by the Community Cup Classic Foundation and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station. The Gospel Music Historical Society presents the Soloist Song Service, Sunday, August 1st, 5 o'clock p.m. at the First Missionary Baptist Church, located at 4312 Lee Road in Cleveland. 4312 Lee Road. Don't miss this service, presented by the Gospel Music Historical Society and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, a Burton Bell Carr community radio station.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, and I'm here with Willie Epstein out of Dallas, Texas. I finally got it right. I almost said Houston. I didn't want to say Houston.
We only been doing this for what, 6 months?
Has it been 6 months?
Probably not 6 months.
I was about to say this year has flown by. So like I honestly could be like, okay, yeah, it's been 6 months because this time has been like, whew.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. So before we get to NFL, let's talk about what's going on in college football right quick. Since you out there in Texas, what do you think about the Big 12 and the issues that is going to take place? Because Texas and Oklahoma will not be renewing their affiliation. They will be gone in 2025. What are your thoughts about what is going on out over there?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Because out here, and this is the heart of Big 12 country, okay? We are 3 hours from Norman, where OU is. We're 3.5 hours from Austin, where UT is. We're 3 hours from College Station, Texas A&M, and probably about 4.5 hours from Stillwater, Oklahoma State, and 6 hours from Lubbock, Texas Tech. I'm not surprised at all because the conference has struggled in a big way, particularly in football, with UT being down. And then, I'm sorry, I said Texas A&M. Duh, Texas A&M is where? In the SEC already. Mm-hmm. So I think that it was a long time coming. I actually tweeted on the other day at Shakeback Media Group on Twitter. Follow me there. I appreciate it. The Big 12 is done. If OU and UT both go to the SEC, the Big 12 is done. And somebody was like, yo, no, they're not. I'm like, so you mean to tell me that a conference that includes Baylor, I forgot Baylor. Baylor is only 2.5 hours away from here. A conference that has Baylor, Texas Tech, OK State, and Iowa. And who else to have?
Iowa State ain't in there, ain't they?
No, Iowa State. Iowa State is Iowa State. You're right. Iowa State, Kansas, and Kansas State. You mean to tell me that a conference with those teams is going to still be afloat? UT and Texas are the Big 12 personified, especially when you have the Red River rivalry used to be called the Red River Shootout, but the Red River rivalry here in Dallas is a spectacle in itself, and it is really a point in the season, really a point in the year down here in the Southwest where seasons change and the fairs going on and all that other great stuff. So I think that OU, well, particularly UT, Texas, they have struggled so much that going to the SEC like A&M did, because A&M is going to be one of the college football playoff contenders this year with Jimbo Fisher and everything that they have down there in College Station. That's going to benefit Texas in terms of elevating their competitiveness in terms of trying to secure the talent that they used to get when Mac Brown was here and they were winning national championships back in 2005. I hate you, Vince Young, for what you did to Michigan in the Sugar Bowl, by the way. I mean, in the Rose Bowl. So, yeah. Yeah, they're done. The Big 12 is done. I actually heard somebody say today, Rachel, that this move is evidence of a potential 32 conference Super League.
Oh my God, that's too much. I wouldn't want no parts of that. So
Yeah.
what, do you merge together the Big 10, SEC, and what remained of the Big 12 to get that?
Well, I think you really just need to do the SEC and the Big 12. That'll be 26 teams in itself right there.
Oh my God.
Or 24 teams, I think. I think the SEC has 14 teams, and the Big 12 that has 10 teams has 10 teams.
That's a lot.
And then think about it like this too, Rachel, is that this is going to squeeze the mid-majors in terms of being able to get that talent, because now if you have that, those fringe, probably 3.5-star recruits can still go to a Power 5 school that's going to get a lot of airtime, airplay, recognition, notoriety, and all those great things. And then that's going to leave those other squads, in my opinion, struggling. And then for Texas, it's going to renew a rivalry with A&M that has been lost when A&M jumped to the SEC.
They should. Why don't they still play an out of conference game and just do it that way?
Because I don't think they make the money that's necessary, nor does it put the conference in position. Look, the Big 12 is not, to me, when you talk about the Big 12, you're really talking about games that end in 68-63, 71-65. Those are those shootout type of games that we see all the time in this conference. And OU has been in the college playoff, college football playoff, every year since it's been in existence. That team produced 2 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners. I'm sure you know one of them pretty good. And then
I heard of him.
Yeah, they had a third one, or they had a third candidate in Jalen Hurts all the way up until the last, quarter of the season. So it's a money pool, really. It is a money pool for UT and OU because they know that the SEC is the best conference in the nation, arguably.
I mean, why you disrespecting Ohio State, though?
I said arguably. I'm disrespecting Ohio State. I'm disrespecting my team, too. I'm disrespecting the whole conference.
Yeah, well, the Big Ten used to be one of the biggest conferences to play in. I don't know. I guess I just don't like that. I would prefer that the Big 12 stay and they just incorporate some other mid-majors in and do it that way instead of totally dissolving as a conference. I guess I'm a traditionalist and rather them stay the traditional way that they have been. So I don't necessarily think I would be ready for the Big 12 to just completely be done. I don't think I like that. Does Texas and Oklahoma, are they going to get their butts kicked in the SEC every week or what?
I mean, A&M had been Texas. I mean, OU can't beat Alabama, nor can they beat Georgia, nor can they beat LSU. And LSU's going to be back this year too, by the way. I'm just saying. You asked me the question, right?
They'll probably be Georgia.
No.
Georgia be so overrated, man.
No, they beat.
What has Georgia done though? What has
Georgia beat OU in the Rose Bowl a few years ago.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield, that team.
And then what did Georgia do then after that?
Well, they lost the next game, but I mean,
exactly.
but we're not talking about Georgia. We're talking about OU.
No. But they eventually will be able to beat them.
I don't think so.
I mean, Georgia's always overrated, man. They always fall up short, and when you have expectations for them, because that was to make it to the national championship, and then they lost the national championship game, right?
Yeah,
to Alabama. They lose to? Oh, yeah.
Alabama.
I was actually rooting for them too.
Tua
I was rooting for them.
Yeah, I never root for Alabama. Alabama could play itself, and I would hope that the refs.
I wasn't rooting for Alabama. I was rooting for Georgia.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree.
Yeah, that was a good win over. Oklahoma because that's what first. I got a chance to see Baker Mayfield play because I'm from the Big Ten. Not saying I'm a snob, but I really only care about what Ohio State doing. So I ain't really out there watching nobody. So that was the first opportunity I really had to see Baker Mayfield play, and I'm like, okay, he got the juice. I see. Okay, I'd be okay with taking him. I didn't think we were going to, but it's kind of worked out for us.
Yeah. And it's funny. It's funny that it has, but when you think about that Georgia team, I want to say from 2000 and maybe 16, 17, 18 in that era, these are the people that they had on their team, running backs.
Nick Chubb,
Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift. They had all three of those guys on the squad at the same time. How do you not win? Not just the national championship, but how do you not win the SEC with that? And then they had whatchamacallit on the outside, McKeel Hartman from Kansas City.
Georgia's always overrated. I just said that.
Yeah, you did. I'm starting to retract my own statement here.
No,
why not? I've been apologizing to people all day.
Doing this apology to her, but ladies, that's one of the first times I ever heard a man apologize publicly. So I'm really proud of you. Doesn't happen that often, so I'm really proud of you for doing that.
Well, okay, because I'm wrong a lot of times, so it ain't no big deal for me to throw out an apology. Now,
I appreciate you admitting that.
There's a difference between throwing out an apology and then actually meaning it. I actually mean my apology.
That's true. Yeah, because I'll throw out a fake sorry in a minute, depending on who it is about.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
But Mr. Montana, man, we only got 3 minutes left. We didn't even get a chance to really talk football yet. What do you think quickly about Aaron Rodgers reporting for camp?
Man, look, I think for him, he probably realizes that at some point between now and when the story was at its heightened state about him possibly being moved, I figured that he figured out at that time, somewhere in between there, that this would be the best chance for him to win another Super Bowl. So instead of really forcing himself away from Green Bay to learn another offense and another system all over again, he came up and his people came up with the plan that would get him out of there after this year, after still being able to have Devontae and all those other great receivers they have. Adam Jones came back at the running back spot. So they're primed. They're primed to go further than they did the last 2 years, and that will be the Super Bowl.
And also, I don't think he really wanted to lose $50,000 a day. And
I don't think he cared about that, but he does want to win the Super Bowl.
I know, but still, that's still a lot of money to contend with losing every day. So I can see why he might not wanted to do that.
It wasn't about the money, Rachel, because they offered him a contract that would have made him the highest player in sports. That contract would have been bigger than Mike Trout's, and he turned it down. So it ain't about the money. It was never about the money.
Yeah, well, I guess that's our time. Willie, man, that hour showing up past quick. You and your apologies and all the good conversation that we had, time just flew on.
Yeah, it did. I'm glad to be back.
Everybody got you quick?
On Twitter at Shakeback Media Group, on Instagram at Shakeback Media Group. I am here with Rachel every Tuesday. Also, the BGC Sports Network, bgcsports.net. Hashtag Brothers of Baseball. That's myself, Natalie Turk, and Mike Martinez. Shakeback Sports Show. Myself and Corey Ellison. 12s and 6s all around the clock, Monday through Sunday. Hit us up.
And I am 1ST Lady of Sports, and you have been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. We are out of here.